Well, moving on to our next issue, when one of our producers complained of foot pain, we sent her to our go-to podiatrist, Dr. Ali Sadre, for some answers. Have a look at what happened.
Welcome.
Been a while.
What brings you in?
I've got calluses on the balls of my feet, and the left one, it's just been hurting more.
And how long has it been happening?
It's been uncomfortable for a while, but in the last week and a half, it's gotten more intense.
And it hurts pretty much most of the time, any shoes you wear?
Yeah, I think the higher the shoe, the worse the pain.
Worse the pain? Let's take a look, okay? This is definitely a nice callus you've developed. This is what's called an IPK, intractable porokeratosis. And it's a fancy word for a sweat gland, which we have on our feet and our hands, that gets plugged up. So you're literally walking on tiny little pebbles on the bottom of your foot. So let's get started, shall we?
Yeah, let's.
This is all dead skin. So we're gonna keep shaving the calluses down as much as possible so we can expose the insides of these lesions. See those circles? That's the core. And we are just taking our scalpel very carefully and circumscribing the lesion. I wanna go all the way through the skin. And there it is. That's the dermis, that's the layer underneath her skin. We've taken the core of this lesion out completely. The next ones will be smaller, they won't be as severe. So now I'm gonna clean you up, throw a Band-Aid on, you're good to go. And here's our 3 little mice.
Well, Joni is here with podiatrist, Dr. Ali Sadre. Joni, did that hurt?
Yeah, it was just a little pinchy. But before, I mean, it feels like you have a little rock in your shoe. It feels like a pebble or something.
Yeah,
Most people haven't heard of sweat plugs.
Well, I mean, you have sweat glands everywhere in your body, particularly on the bottom of your hands, the bottom of your feet, and under your arms. And in the foot, it's a disadvantage because you're putting pressure on that area, and that skin's very thick. So what happens is they get jammed and they get plugged, and the skin constantly replaces itself, right? It exfoliates constantly. Well, if that's not exfoliating properly, then that pore gets plugged and it can build up on itself. You know, there are people that are predisposed to this. So we have the female population because of shoes, because of high-heeled shoes putting pressure on the front of the foot. A certain kind of shoe, let's say you're in construction, you're wearing a certain kind of shoe all day, every day. That'll put pressure and cause plugging, and then actual structural problems. That's why, it's important to see a podiatrist, because if you have pressure in an area and you don't know aware of it, you're going to get more and more of these plugs.
And the only way to get rid of them is you have to remove the entire plug, otherwise it'll come back?
Yeah, there's a variety of treatments. Some doctors will freeze them, some doctors will use acids to remove them. I think the best way to treat these is the method that we use, which is removing them with a simple blade. This is one of the blades that we'll use. It's like a 15 blade. And you can actually use, some doctors will use a eye surgical blade like this. So ultimately, we'll use this to core the lesion out. Now remember, that plug that we took out has some cells that are still there, so it may come back. And so what happens is every time you debride these, every time we see each other, it'll get smaller and smaller, eventually it won't come back.
And in honesty with everyone, Joni's not only a producer on our show, she is producing this particular show. So how is it now, though, Joni?
It's great. I mean, you can tell where you took it out, but
Yeah, there's
Can we
like
show
can't
everyone?
feel
Yeah,
it.
absolutely. Here, let's take a look. So what you
How
can,
do you want me to do this?
Yeah, we'll hold it up like this, and we'll give
Brush
you a good
off the
shot.
dirt.
So what you can see is you can see the little areas that I took, and actually this one has a little speck of blood in it, which is okay, because that'll go away. And these will probably fill in again over time, but less so than last time. So the idea is that it's almost like an onion skin process, where we're removing it slowly and eventually it comes off.
Joni, thank you for
welcome.
sharing your story with us.
Betcha.
Dr. Sadre, as always.
Thank you.